Have you ever stopped to think about how a single, powerful symbol can travel through time? Today, we're going on a journey, tracing one symbol that starts with a really desperate act in ancient Egypt and ends up becoming a cornerstone of faith for billions of people. So let's dive in and see how it all began. Okay, so let's just get right to the heart of it. We're looking at a two-part mystery here. First, what was the immediate, life or death reason for this very strange ritual? And second, how in the world did that one moment in history echo through thousands of years to become something totally new?
To figure this out, we have to go back, way back. We need to put ourselves in the world where this symbol was born. A world filled with slavery, desperation, and this feeling that something big, something divine was about to happen.
So try to picture the scene. The Israelites have been slaves in Egypt for generations. They have zero power. They're up against the might of the entire Egyptian empire. And every time they cry out for freedom, their work just gets harder. The situation is absolutely dire, and this final, terrifying judgment is looming.
And it's right here, in this moment of just extreme tension, that a very specific, and let's be honest, a very peculiar set of instructions comes down. And this isn't some friendly suggestion, it is a divine command, and it has life or death consequences. And just look at how precise this is. It couldn't be just any lamb. It had to be perfect, totally unblemished. They had to care for it, bring it right into their homes, and then slaughter it at a very specific time. And then, and this is the crucial part, they had to use its blood, not on some altar, but as a mark on the very frame of their houses. This verse from Exodus, this is the heart of the whole thing. It is such a vivid and kind of visceral image. Just think about that for a second. Every single Israelite family painting the entrance to their home with the blood of a lamb. This wasn't some secret ritual. It was a public sign. But a sign of what? And that brings us to the big why. Why the blood? Why on the doors? Well, the purpose was immediate, and it was terrifyingly simple. It was all about protection. This was the threat hanging over everyone's head, the 10th and final plague. It was a devastating blow meant to finally break the will of the Pharaoh, and it was going to be totally indiscriminate, set to strike every single house in Egypt, from the palace right down to the dungeon, Egyptian or Israelite, unless, of course, you have the sign. Now, this is a really crucial point. The blood wasn't meant to appease some angry deity. It wasn't a sacrifice to say, hey, we're sorry. No, it was a signal. It was a mark of identification. It was basically a giant neon sign for the coming destruction that said, this house is protected, pass over. The text here is crystal clear. Seeing the blood on the doorposts and the lintel, that was the trigger for protection. It was literally the shield that saved the firstborn son inside. This one single act of obedience led directly to their deliverance, not just from death, but ultimately from slavery itself. So for centuries, this event, the Passover, was the foundational story of Jewish freedom. But then, something happens. The symbol of the lamb gets radically reimagined. It takes on a totally new, profound meaning inside the new emerging Christian faith. You can see the journey of this symbol across millennia. It starts in ancient Egypt, right? A physical lamb provides physical salvation from one single night of terror. Then you fast forward over 1,000 years to another Passover week, and Jesus is crucified. His followers start to see his death through the lens of this ancient story, and they identify him as the ultimate Passover lamb. And that reinterpretation becomes a central pillar of Christian belief.
And the transformation is just profound. In the original context, you've got a physical lamb protecting from physical death, and it's remembered as this historical moment of deliverance. But in Christianity, the whole thing becomes a spiritual concept. The Lamb of God is a spiritual sacrifice, offering salvation from spiritual death, from sin, and it becomes this core theological idea about redemption for all of humanity. And this is the line. This is the moment in the New Testament where that connection is made completely explicit. John the Baptist sees Jesus and he just declares, "Behold, the Lamb of God." That one phrase links Jesus' future sacrifice directly back to that night in Egypt, but it blows up the meaning, from protecting just one nation to redeeming the entire world.
And that leads us to this core doctrine, sacrificial salvation. The belief is that just like that original, unblemished lamb was sacrificed for the physical salvation of the Israelites, Christ, seen as perfect and sinless, was the final sacrifice for the spiritual salvation of all people. And just like that, the symbol completes its transformation. So let's just recap this incredible journey.
It starts as a pretty desperate, very practical act, a bloody sign on a door for protection. That act becomes the foundational story of freedom for the Jewish people. And then, thousands of years later, that same story provides the symbolic language for a new faith to explain its belief in redemption, transforming a historical rite into a global theology. Wow.
And this just leaves us with a fascinating final thought, doesn't it? The journey of the Passover lamb proves that powerful symbols aren't static. They're not set in stone. They can be adopted and adapted and totally reinterpreted across cultures and centuries to answer new questions and express new ideas. It really makes you wonder, what other ancient symbols are still speaking to us today in ways their originators could never have possibly imagined?